Hello everyone and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage here on YouTube. So you join me today in a Land Rover Discovery 5, not my Land Rover Discovery 5, but a Discovery nonetheless. And in this video today, I'm going to be telling you why I think I've found the perfect engine for a Discovery, and probably the perfect engine actually if you were to look at other Land Rovers in the range. So stay tuned for this video. We'll be talking about economy of different engines, what feels good to drive, what the performance is out of each one, and generally just a bit more about what it's like to live with it from a personal experience with the different engine types. So this car I'm in at the moment is a Discovery. It's a 2021 Discovery, and it is a D300, that's the engine, and it's an HSE R Dynamic actually. And I'll show you around this car in a minute, just for those that haven't watched the channel or seen this car in the previous videos. And this is actually, it's a very long story and I won't go into it on this video, but this vehicle is the loan car that I've got from Land Rover at the moment, as mine is in the garage, and we are getting into about 9 or 10 weeks now since not having my Discovery. However, I am keeping that quite quiet now because now I have this Discovery. This is a lot better than mine, and so I'm not calling Marshall's Land Rover, and I'm just keeping quiet and hoping I get to keep this car for as long as possible while mine is in the workshop. Although it's not great, mine being away for so long, it's not too bad considering I get to run around in this, and I'm really enjoying this vehicle, mainly because it has a different engine type to what my Discovery has. Let's go take a look around. For those who haven't seen this, welcome to Discovery 5. This is HSE R Dynamic. You know it's an R Dynamic because it has all of these parts in gloss, which are much nicer than the standard spec. And as mentioned, this is the D300, which we'll get onto in just a minute. Quite nice wheels on this car. It's just Santorini black, the usual sort of dynamic bits. Here you got the little badge in here as well. And this is 2021. So this is, I think it was 2020, they launched the kind of updated facelifted version. And this is that, basically. Mine from 2018 is not the facelifted. It has a different interior, slightly different exterior. They've certainly made them look a little bit more aggressive through here. The front splitter, a bit more kind of dynamic-y stuff. And generally, a bit more Range Rover-y in how they look, I think. And I haven't had a look under here yet, but I've opened the bonnet because I felt like it's an engine video, right? So we probably should look at the engine. So, I mean, as always with these types of cars, not a lot to see, a lot of plastic. But essentially, this is the D300. This is the 3-litre diesel engine from Land Rover. And probably should shut that. And I've really enjoyed having this vehicle. I've enjoyed this engine. Has been probably the highlight of this car, and I never really looked too much into it before or thought too much of it, but actually having this has really made me think about engine choices. If I was to buy another one, which I am threatening myself with, it's good all that sound deadening there, isn't it? A lot more than my Defender. So yeah, let's have a little discussion around that. What are the differences between this compared to mine? So basically, we're kind of looking at a 2-litre to a 3-litre comparison. Of course, there now is loads of plug-in hybrid variants, these kind of part electric engines or mild hybrid variants. I don't believe there's a plug-in hybrid variant in the Discovery, but there is for the Defender, there is for the Sport, and I think there is for the Range Rover, which is a bit weird because I'd quite like there to be a plug-in hybrid variant for the Discovery, and I don't really know why there is when there is for the Defender, because I imagine the vehicles are similar in a weight sort of point of view and also just in a size point of view, but there's no plug-in hybrid variant for Discovery. So let me know in the comments below if you know why that is. So originally, back in 2018, when I bought my Discovery, I went for the 2-litre option. Didn't think too much of it, but when I saw there was a 2-litre for sale in the spec I wanted, which was the HSE Luxury, I thought 2-litre would be good because it's a smaller engine and therefore you get better economy from it. And I think I briefly went for a test drive in a 3-litre and I couldn't feel a huge difference on that test drive. And I thought, you know what, great, let's go for the 2-litre, much better economy, it'll still do most of the jobs absolutely fine. And yeah, had it for that for what, the last few years. Have had a lot of problems with it. Potentially a 2-litre thing. I have seen more problems probably, or heard from here particularly on YouTube, with people with 2-litre engines having issues. I had a cracked engine block and had to have a new engine in less than 3 years of ownership. But I heard the 3 litres are probably a little better than that. But I have no basis for that apart from just what I've read. So talking about economy, I think that's something some people do ask about economy when it comes to these vehicles and how much do they use fuel wise. I picked this up about a week and a half ago and thought, from just feeling the way it drives and how it pulls, this is going to burn a lot more fuel than my Discovery on the 2 litre. And I don't do loads of mileage, so I'm not too bothered about the MPG, to be honest. I don't commute and don't do a lot of mileage generally, so it's just weekend driving. So it doesn't make a huge difference to me, but I think it's an interesting point to mention because a lot of people do ask about what is the MPGs of the different vehicles. And if you do a lot of mileage on a weekly basis, it's going to make a difference. Now, I'm just looking at this now, done about 500 miles in it, probably in the last week or so. And looking at this, it's doing 31.3 MPG. Now, if I compare that to my Discovery, that was doing about 35, 36, so it really isn't that different. I don't think on a 3 litre engine getting 31 plus MPG out of it, and that's real life driving, that's putting your foot down a little bit, it's not driving too conservatively. To get over 30 for 3 litre diesel in a car like this, I think it's actually pretty good, to be honest. I was expecting it probably to be more around the 25 mark. During my experience of having my vehicle in the garage and different rental vehicles I've had from Land Rover, I had a Kia Sportage that did about 70 miles per gallon, had a Hilux which was also a 3 litre diesel, I believe, and that was doing about 21 MPG, whereas this doing 31, I feels pretty good. And this drives so nice, and the reason I think I find the perfect engine, like I mentioned, is I've driven a few different varieties in the Land Rover range recently. So some of the mild hybrid versions, the plug-in hybrids, obviously my 2 litre that I lived with for 4 years, and then this, which I've had for about a week and a half or so. And I've never felt an engine that suits the vehicle better than the D300. Arguably, I haven't driven an SVR and the 5 litre. I'm sure they are very punchy, but for general driving and towing as well, the 3 litre, the D300, is really, really nice. It feels like it was the engine that this car was designed to have in it. And compared to my 2 litre, although it works and it's fine, it's just quite sluggish off the start line. It doesn't really get going where you need it to. They feel like there's quite a lot of lag, a lot of delay. It doesn't feel quite as responsive as the 3 litre. So I think for me, this just really feels like it suits the Discovery really, really well. I'll be interested to hear your perspective, whatever vehicle you've got in the Land Rover lineup, what engine you got at the moment, and what do you think it is, how it fits the vehicle. I think sometimes you don't know until you drive another car for a bit of time how different it is and how much probably yours isn't as good as you thought it was. So for me particularly, I had no real concerns with the 2 litre, thought it was great. I noticed it probably did rev quite a bit more when you're towing, so towing different things, you get a bit more revving out of it, particularly try to tow up a hill, whereas this just powers through. It just feels like it's a lot easier for this vehicle. And I do wonder, is the reason the smaller engine blocks like the 2 litre that I had in 2018 and it cracked and had the problems, is it because it's the vehicle's too big, it's too heavy, the engine's too small? And I originally thought that maybe was a theory that, you know, towing and doing stuff, the heavy duty work with a 2 litre engine in a big car like this, cracked the engine block. But then you look at the new vehicles, and a lot of them are running like 1.5, 2 litres quite happily without a problem. So I don't really know if that theory's got any kind of backing to it at all. But I do know that when I've seen anecdotally, just from people talking, the 3 litres have less issues. And if I was to say to someone, if they were looking at buying a Discovery, used Discovery, I'd probably always say go for the 3 litre. I think it suits the car better, yes, but I also think generally they have less trouble. But again, happy to prove wrong. I've no idea, it's just what I've heard. Now, I appreciate when you buy a Discovery, you're not trying to buy a car that's mega quick, but I think it's interesting just to sort of see what it feels like up to 60 in the D300 compared to like the 2 litre, which, as I mentioned, is quite slow. You certainly feel the sluggishness of that. This, I think, is pretty rapid, to be honest. I'm in sports at the moment, got it in these little aluminium flappy paddles here, and if I put my foot down, you'll see this is, see, second, and that is 60 there. So pretty quick, I think, 0 to 60. I think it's about 6.5 seconds actually, but you know, that's pretty fast for a car this big, and it certainly feels quite quick in a car this big as well. Just really responsive, really nippy when you need it to be, and overall just such a better driving experience, mainly because of how responsive the the throttle feels and how you just kind of can move on and push through things, which you can't really do in the 2 litre. It definitely feels like a bit of a delay when you're in the 2 litre in comparison. So yeah, you know, even from a driving perspective, just feels just so much more locked in, just a much better drive overall with the D300 engine. So for me, I am in this vehicle for a little bit longer. Don't know how long longer, but here for until I guess Land Rover fix my car and get this new wiring harness of some sort sorted for it. After that, literally no idea what I'm going to be doing in regards to probably getting rid of that vehicle. It's what, 60 odd thousand miles. I have said to Land Rover, while you've got it in your workshop, could you just take it off me and let us know how much that'd be? But I don't think they're that keen at the moment to buy it before it's been fixed. But keen to kind of move that on. I think it's time. I think it's probably going to have more and more issues, and in February this year it's up for its new approved warranty, so you know, another £1,000 for that. I'm sure when it comes out of Land Rover this time it'll be great and it'll work fine, and I'll have second thoughts when I get it back, thinking, oh, you know, how much is this worth? Probably not that much in the current market, but I do think it's probably time to move it on. And the question is, where do I go next? And I've mentioned this before on YouTube, still not really sure what to do, so I'll kind of see as we get closer. I know this particular vehicle, when I look online, something like this, a 2021 with pretty much 36,000 miles on the clock, is around 57,000. So still quite a lot of money, considering it's a car that's just about to slip out of its warranty period as well. So we'll need to probably get that extended when it does. So it's kind of on that verge. I kind of fear that, and this is just from me being burnt previously, it might have had its best years in the 35,000 miles it's had, and now it's kind of maybe going to have some issues. I don't know, but so far seems very good. Honestly feels like a different car compared to the pre-facelift model. Even just inside, all the interior tech, all the kind of screens and everything, it just feels so much newer, and it doesn't really feel like my Discovery at all. It doesn't feel like a Discovery that I've come out of. So really impressed with this new car, really impressed with the D300. I think if you're going to go for it, I'd go for a 3 litre engine. I think that engine really suits these vehicles, and I think even in the Defender, I think a D300 would be the one to go for. That's my personal perspective and opinion. Always happy to have a chat about that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I will be doing some more videos on my Land Rover Defender, my TD5 2006 car, very soon. But I've just got to get a few things sorted on that, and then I'll be coming back later on this week with some stuff on my Defender. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you very soon.